Good morning. My name is Braxton Chumley and I am the general manager of this company. The reason I called this meeting was because I think that it's time for some of us to start giving back to those who keep us in business, and since we are a nationwide company, that's pretty much anyone. One thing that came to mind was being an organ donor. You may not think about it now because fortunately we're still alive. But once we pass, we have the opportunity to give someone else a chance to live. Me and my family are a living example of that. In 1997, a couple months before I was born, my dad had a major car accident. He was rushed to the emergency room, and when my mom got there, the doctor told her that my dad needed a new heart. Now, if you aren't familiar with how long the average wait is for a heart transplant, it's about 4 months. But my dad didn't have that long. He needed a new heart as soon as possible. Luckily for him, he was high on the waiting list because I guess the doctors thought it was a good idea to try and keep him alive because he had a child on the way. He ended up getting a new heart within 24 hours because the guy that had recently passed had a heart that matched with his. I can never thank that man enough for being an organ donor because he gave me a life with an amazing and loving father. For those of you who aren't an organ donor, I suggest that you think about signing up. About 21 patients die every day because of the lack of donor organs. I understand that it can be hard to think about what is going to happen to your body after you die, and it can be a little scary, but being an organ donor is a generous and worthwhile decision that can save someone's life one day. For those of you that may seem a little hesitant because some of the myths that you've heard, well, I'm here to assure you that those myths are false. There is no cutoff age for your organs. The doctors get to decide at the time of your death whether your organs or tissues are suitable for transplantation. Also, no one gets treated any differently when needing a transplant. The rich and famous are treated just as equal as anyone sitting in this room. Those are just some of the myths that I have heard here recently, but if anyone has a question concerning anything that they have heard, I will be happy to answer it after this meeting. Right now, there are 20 people sitting in this room. Since I don't know all of you personally, I am just going to assume that none of you are organ donors. Now, if just one of you sign up to be an organ donor, you can restore up to as many as 50 lives. But if all of you register to be an organ donor, that's up to 1,000 lives you could restore and potentially save. Over 120,000 people in the United States are waiting for a transplant of some kind, and those of you who aren't registered can help make that number go down. The many families that I have talked to whose loved one has passed say that knowing their son, daughter, dad, or friend was an organ donor helped them mourn and cope with their loss. I am forever grateful for the man that gave my dad his new heart was an organ donor. Because of him, I grew up with a father figure in my life. But registering to be an organ donor can not only help change the life of the person in need, but can also help change the life of their family like mine. What everyone has in front of them is a sheet of paper that shows you how to register to become an organ donor. It's super easy, but I will go over the steps with those of you who are interested. There are many different ways to register, but I think the easiest way and the safest way to register is with the National Donate Life Registry. Registering with them ensures that your donor registration travels with you no matter where you go or if you move or whatever. You can also designate your choice on your driver's license, and you can do that when you renew your license. You also need to tell your family or those who are closest to you, so if something happens and someone close to you is around and the medical doctors need information quickly, they can get in contact with those around you. I got all of my information for this speech from the Mayo Clinic website, and seeing that this was one of the topics that we could talk about made me really excited because I have a personal attachment with this topic. I really hope this speech could reach someone and change their mind if they aren't already an organ donor. Every person really does make a difference, and me and my family are the living proof. Thank you.